Hello, hello, everybody. I hope everybody can see me and hear me the way they'd planned on it. Today, we are having an extremely laid back, hopefully all of these are pretty laid back, but we are having a pointedly laid back approach today because we are not covering any notes. You may well, as you go through this exercise, develop some notes that you think are really, really useful. But what we're going to do today, you and I together, is I thought it might be really nice to, and let me grab a link to this. I am always fussing at y'all and saying, oh, please be creative about a lab. And asking someone to be creative, like be creative right now, it's a bit of a tall order, isn't it? So, what I thought might be very, very fair today is oh, I'm going to go ahead and do this lab, and I'm going to do it in my style. I think y'all already know what that means, which is try not to copy this exactly the same way that you wouldn't want to copy the other one exactly. So today we don't have a ton of notes, we don't have a ton of reading, but if you have questions as we go, or if you have questions about CSS overall, just check them in the chat and we'll get them either as we go or we'll get them in a block of time all at the end. Is that okay? So here, and Ulito makes a solid point to say, hey, sometimes if you want to be really creative, you've got to do the lab and then get it to pass and then do some silly things with your code later. And that, because like the default tests on this are really restrictive. Yep. And Mel's making the same point to say, hey, I want to be creative, but it feels like the tests here are limiting your creativity. Cool. Let's go ahead and let's meet those requirements. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to make things pass, right? I'm going to do enough work to pass the tests. Once that feels okay, we're going to go ahead and get silly. And that's probably going to break our requirements. So what I'm going to do is, how about I'll look at a code sandbox. Cool. So what I'm going to do is come back here. We're going to do this. I really, really get that y'all, like, it's a really solid point. The tests feel really restrictive. So the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to get them to pass. Just. We're going to fulfill the user stories. All right. We need a div. Oh gosh, and I completely forgot. Not please don't tell us your address, but for folks who are here live, where are y'all based? Just sort of very generally and broadly. We should have a div with the class attributes with the value of business card that should contain all the other elements. Okay, well, I don't love using a div for this, but I get why. And since this is going to contain all of my other elements, I'm going to bet $1 that we're going to want this to be in the body. I'm going to format our code just to keep things fun. And here we're going to set a class, let's do business card. All right. Oh gosh, we've got folks in the UK as well. For folks who are outside of Europe, there's a little tiny bitty heat wave on right now, so all of us are a little bit grumpy. We've got folks in New England, which is hopefully cooler than England is right now. Folks in the States, it's cool. So we've got a div with the class of business card, and inside this div, where we are right now, we should have an image. We don't have anything to put in the image right now, but that's all right. We can add it. So we'll want to have a source for our image. We'll go get it in a second. And we also want that image to have a class of profile image. Okay. Oh, we can set it to this flower one if you want, which isn't very creative, but we'll just do that for now. Gosh. And we should have an alt text with a meaningful description. A pink flower image being used as a placeholder. And really, this would be something that I would generally use an ARIA Yeah, where I would generally use aria to remove it from the flow because we're just using this pink flower as a placeholder. That's not really useful to me. Oh gosh, we've got folks in Trinidad and Tobago. I absolutely know that there's more to the area than beautiful, beautiful beaches, but hope it is, if it's as warm as there as it is here, that you do have some outside time today. Okay, so we're inside our business card element still. We should have 3 paragraph elements. And what I'm doing here is I'm going to go ahead and build out the structure. And the class, I've got 1. I'm going to copy and paste these 2, 3. Gosh, I'm going to have these on separate lines as well. I'm going to format our document out. So, and one of our classes should be full name. And I know that a bunch of people, it's maybe, yeah, 34, 35 degrees for a lot of the UK today. And that is not that hot for a lot of people. But we like to build homes that are nice and warm. So here, this doesn't do anything. Under our, let's just go ahead and check our code. Let's see how many of these, easy, easy, easy. Let's see how many of these tests pass, because there's a lot we're doing in here, right? Okay, so a lot of these very boring tests are passing, but okay. We are, however, getting to a point where we have to start making a couple of creative decisions. I said that we're going to do something a bit creative, and I want to make sure that I'm not giving you stuff that obviously y'all don't want to copy. It's a business card. You want to do your own thing. I'm going to make a business card for my cat. Just, yeah, I'd be pretty surprised if y'all wound up with the same thing. Blink. He's got the same surname as me just because when I'm at the vet, they give him my surname, Blink Rose. Oh gosh, what's his title? Hmm, Head Mouser. And this is a polite lie. He has never caught anything in his whole life. He's an indoor cat. He's not going to get a mouse. Actually, that's a really good point. Head Mouser suggests some work he's not qualified to do. He's our head bird watcher in the home. Yeah. The company, Rose Industries. Cool. And now if we check our code, we should see even more of these pass. We're just going to bop along and get more and more of these to work. Let's come back up to our user stories and just follow these along. What I'm looking to do is hop through these pretty fast so we can then get a little bit silly. Hmm, hmm, hmm. So we're going to have an HR element. Oh, where are we? This should be an HR element. Okay, so an HR element is just going to be that little visual line. Yep, and we're seeing that visual line come in way down here at the bottom. I'm going to be really excited when we fix the size of this image because it's real big, right? Okay, here we've got 2 more P elements. And these don't need a specific class that I see. The first one should have an email address. I'll do blink@jessica.tech, which is what his email address would be if he had an email address. And then a phone number. We're going to go for the classic, which is 555-5555, which I believe was first used as a placeholder in like American classic movies. Okay. After this, we want to have a anchor element. Okay, and that's the same thing. So far, for this being a CSS exercise, we are doing a lot of HTML, huh? And here we want to have a class of portfolio link and the text portfolio, and it should link to a valid URL. I'm just going to link to my website because I'm lazy. So, you know what, we'll pretend that my cat has a portfolio on my website. After the link, there should be another HR element, so another one of those visual lines. And let's come over and see what this, let's actually, goodbye instructions, goodbye index. Let's see what this is doing over here in the preview. So we've been building out these HTML elements. And so far, this feels a lot like the websites we've been able to build so far, doesn't it? So just sort of, it lacks the promise and finesse that I promised y'all. Yeah. So let's come down and see how many of our tests are passing now. So I really, really hear y'all that getting these tests to pass is a little miserable. And I agree with you. But we are, woof, woof, woof. Okay, so we're about like halfway done. Yikes. Maybe we'll just get through getting the test to pass and then sort of tiptoe over and explore a little bit of creativity. So I'm going to come all the way back up to our user stories. We're still getting these to pass. Okay, so we were at number 10. Let's come to number 11. We're going to have another div with the class attribute social media. And if I recall correctly, the very first one, so we're on number 11 here, the very first user story we had said that our div with the business card class will contain all of our other elements. So I've got a pretty good hint here that our next div, I'm going to shrink this preview down, is going to be a child element. So it's a div within a div. It's a container within a container. And we'll come back down to number 11. And we're going to have the class of social media. All right. Again, we're still doing a heck ton of HTML for this being a CSS kind of thing. Here, we want an H2 for connect with me. Let's format our document up. And let's also take a look at what this feels like in the preview. Oh, heck. Oh, we've got that H2, and we've got our H2 with default styling, which we may not necessarily want, and we may change in our CSS. So inside social media, we should have 3 A elements, Twitter, LinkedIn, and GitHub, respectively. So this is kind of an old-fashioned one. I guess this was made when folks were still using Twitter. But we can go ahead and do that. A ref, so where we're throwing the link. Oh gosh, this is going to make me feel very old when I ask. Folks, what kind of social media are y'all using? Or yeah. I confess I'm on like Mastodon a lot more than I'm on anything else these days. Oh, and Blue Sky, which again may not be cool at all. We want LinkedIn, and we want GitHub. I'm going to cheat. So my cat likes to be happy. So he doesn't have any social media. So I'm just going to say HTTPS twitter.com. And this is just like, hey, if y'all want to go to LinkedIn, that's your business. Let's check our. Okay, so we've got folks on a lot of Mastodon, a lot of Blue Sky. Uh, oof, oof. You know what? We've got somebody who's just like, you know what? I'm not really in on social media at all. I want to be happy instead. I'm only a little jealous. So I think we're at number 13. I'm going to put this in the chat. We've gotten to user story number 13. And I'm reminding myself of that because I want to come down and see how many of these tests should pass. Oh, look at all these tests, like boom, 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 boom. Everything's terrible. These tests are a little grueling, but they can't hurt us. Okay. Oh, look at these. So we've got 26 passing out of 41. We've got more than halfway left. Oh, everything's fine. We're going to come all the way back up because I left myself a note. We stopped off at user story number 13. And this is where we're saying, nice, we are just about to start writing our CSS. And because we're about to start writing our CSS, we need to add the link tag up in the head section of our HTML file. All right, so here, link rel equals style sheet, right? And the ref, oh, is it ref or source? Let's try one and then the other. Okay, maybe it is ref. So here, it's complaining that we should set the background color in the body selector to rosy brown. So this is telling me I can go back and check my tests. Does the link element look okay? Okay, my link element's inside the head element. It's got the rel attribute set to style sheet, and okay, it is ref, it's not source, and it's set to styles.css. Everything's terrible, but everything's okay. Sorry, that's a very weird approach to the world. We're coming right back up. All right, so now we have a couple more boring things we want to do. Our page background should be set as rosy brown, and the overall font should be set as Arial with a fallback of sans serif. Did we do fonts at all? So I think there's a couple different ways we can do this. I'm going to get rid of our index for the moment. I'm going to use a type selector for the body. That might not be what our tests want us to do, but is it background color? Let's check. If it's not, we'll try something else. Background color, rosy brown. Yeah. Hmm. How did we set font? Was it just font? It turned red, which suggests it might be the right way to do this. The fallback of sans serif. Let's see, I think it might be font family. Oh gosh, it's probably useful and honest for me to point out that I am cheerfully rubbish. Let's check our code. Okay, we should set the page font to Arial and the body element with the fallback of sans serif. Okay, let's see if it is font family. Oh, heck. Let's check our code. Nice, it's giving us a completely different thing it complains about. Ah, everything's terrible. Everything's fine. So here, we've set some things to our body using the type selector. I'm saying, hey, everything, let's get a little bit look at this preview. Everything in the body go ahead and set these style rules. And I have. We're seeing the font being set to Arial. We're seeing this rosy, what is it, rosy brown? It's very rose gold, isn't it? Very, oof, very, very sort of, is it 2016 maybe? But now we're going to use the class selector. And here, we're going to set some rules for the business card class. Okay, and because CSS is cascading, it's also going to set this rules for all of the child elements, so those divs inside it, inside the business card class. And that was the social, gosh, let's look at our HTML one more time. Excuse me, thank you. So here, when we say we're going to set some style rules for using CSS for the business cards class, we mean everything in here, but we've also got a div within business card, the social media. And because it's the child, it should inherit those rules as well, huh? We're going to bring back our styles. We're going to get rid of our HTML. Thank you very much. So here, should have properties to set the element as 300 pixels wide and a background color of my choice. So I think that this means that you want the width to be 300 pixels. And I think when this user story says a background color of your choice, I think it probably means a background color that isn't this rosy pink. So I'm going to set the background color to purple. And not because I think purple is the design choice we want. Oof, y'all go ahead and fuss at me right now because there is an accessibility problem with this color right away. And I'm going to let one of y'all fuss at me where this is not accessible at all. Oof, these colors clash really, really bad, but I'm not having the contrast problem. I can really, thank you so much, Lucy. Lucy's like, Jess, do not put that black on purple. That's going to have terrible contrast, and that's going to make it really hard for people too. Jane as well. Oh, this is really detailed. Poor contrast between the text and the background. So if we have the poor principles of accessibility, folks who are getting this information visually aren't going to be able to perceive this. And we're going to set a padding of 20 pixels all around. We can do that. So remember, if we want to set a padding, oh gosh, just left you up here. Oh gosh, I could have set this as light blue. There's no hyphen, is there? Thank you. So remember when we set padding to be the same on all sides, we could just set it one time. If we wanted to set it the same for the top and bottom for 20 and the right and left for 10, we could say 20 and 10. Or if we wanted to set each top, right, bottom, left as different ones, we would set the top first, the right next, the bottom next, and the left next, thinking about it going clockwise. So we're also going to add a margin. So we're doing what the instructions told us to, but I actually don't love all of the, so all of these are being set with absolute units. They're being set by 20 pixel padding, 100 pixel margin. This might not be the most responsive way to do this. If I was looking at this on my phone and this element was 300 pixels wide, that 300 pixels would be quite big on my phone. It would be really clunky and not very gracious. We're also going to set the text alignment to center. And you might say, Jess, is that how you spell center now? I said, you know what? CSS almost always, CSS and HTML, y'all might have noticed, our keywords are pretty much always in English and almost always American spelling. It is not fair, but it is what it is for now, for now. We're gonna set the font size to 16 pixels. If y'all are interested in programming in multilingual context, I'm gonna grab a link to. So this is a different thing entirely. This isn't for web development. But oh, and Mel gets way ahead of us, and in a good way. And Mel's like, you know what? It's kind of disappointing that we've got good semantic HTML in here, even though we're using divs when we could probably use something else. But we didn't use the ARIA labels we just learned are really disappointing. This is a really, really good point that we can bring this into our own. If this is not part of the core curricula, this is not really for web development, but if you wanted to practice some sort of programming principles in a multilingual way, there's a programming language called Hedy, HEDY.org, that acts in a really fun, weird, multilingual way. Wait, I'm getting back on track. And the left and right margin should be set to auto. We do it this way. Is that how I? Oh gosh, it's margin left, isn't it? Margin left auto. There's other ways to do this, but I am a big fan of not making things more difficult than they need to be. Here, yeah. So Johanna's made a really good point to say, I keep typing center and can't figure out the error. Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah, I'm so sorry that, yeah, the spelling is almost always very Americanized spelling. Here, the next sort of test that runs that gives us a little tooltip is actually talking to us about stuff from the user story number 16, which is a pretty good hint that we can move on to that one. Oh, so this is a really good one. So this one's Daniel's asking, shouldn't this be margin top 100 pixels? Do you know what? I think you're absolutely correct. Thank you so much. So I think the test here is passing because this does give us a margin on top of 100 pixels, but this gives us a margin everywhere of 100 pixels, and we probably don't want that. Thank you very, very much for being so sharp on that. Let's check our code. And this is a really, really good time too. So I think we're on number 16. I'm going to come all the way down and just check to see how this is going on our test so far. All right. All right. Everything's terrible, but everything seems to be going okay. Our padding is okay. Our top mark. So here, I think this passed before because our top margin was 100 pixels, but all of our margins were, and we didn't need that. The text inside our business card, let's come see that, is indeed center aligned. Okay. The font size is 16 pixels. Right and left margins automatically set. Okay. So now, if y'all heard a terrible, terrible clatter, that was Blink himself deciding that he needed to make quite a bit of noise because he thinks it might be dinner time. So I'm going to come way up to the top and we're going to work on number 16. Thank you, Blink. Oh gosh, look at this. So we've got a couple things we're going to do really, really quickly, but then some of these seem a little hard. So we're going to do a new class selector, and I'm going to copy and paste this over. And we are going to make our, first of all, we're not going to do a dot dot. That doesn't do a single thing. We've got our curly braces, which are some of our best friends. And here we're going to set a max width. We're going to set the maximum width of 100%. Ah, and we saw that jump way, way down. And what we're saying here is, hey, do you know what? This profile image, the element that has the profile image class and the element that we've given this class to is the image on our page, what we're saying is, hey, the maximum width for this element is the size of its parent container. It can't go any bigger than that. But we see that it's not taking up 100% of that. Can somebody who's not me, okay, sorry, that's pretty much everybody who's else. Can somebody give me their best guess? I said that this image can take up 100% of the width of its parent element, but we're seeing some of this pink background around it. What do you think that is? What else have we specified in our CSS? Mm-hmm. Thank you. Everybody's just chiming in. There's a delay, so folks are getting it. So different. So, oh, it's that padding. Yeah. It's the padding, the padding. So yeah, because we specifically said, hey, have some explicit padding here. This image or the element with the profile image class, which just happens to be our image, is allowed to take up 100% of that, except for the padding that we've set. All of our paragraph elements should have a top and bottom margin of 5 pixels. Okay, I think the best way to do this is going to be with the type selector, just because it says all, every single one of our profile. And I could do this a couple different ways. We could say margin top, margin bottom. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say top and bottom margin of 5 pixels. And then, yeah, I don't want to set the left and right. So I'm going to see if setting auto works. And you do have a top, okay, it wants me to do margin top and margin bottom, and I respect that. Not the most efficient way to do this, but let's check our code. All right. So here, this is asking us to make it so that our links aren't underlined. We're going to do this because we want our test to pass, but can y'all give me an example? Like, can y'all give me some reason we might want to not want to do this? I'm going to use a type selector. And I'm actually going to look this up because I don't remember. I'm pretty sure, I'm over here on MDN. I'm pretty sure I want the text decoration CSS property. Okay, so text decoration underline. Yeah. I'd far rather be happy than right any day. Oof, me too, me too. So I think that the fastest way to do this, yeah, so text decoration. So we're going to do this, but why would I maybe not want to do this? I think text decoration none should get rid of those. Ha ha ha, no more underlines. Oh, sorry, I'm sharing the wrong tab. Sorry, my loves. So, so there are a couple different ways to do this. We might go with font style normal. Let's try that instead. So I'm gonna take this away. And that's one of the really nice, really cursed things about web development or different kinds of programming is it's creative. There's often a bunch of different ways to do it. Font style normal doesn't seem to get rid of the underline. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I thought font style would work. I'm sorry, I would not have been like, let's try it if I didn't think it would work. But it seems to have not. But luckily, it can't hurt us. Text decorate, none. Is this because I can't spell? It's text decoration. All right. Yeah, so folks are also saying sometimes they're having some problems with even copy and pasting stuff over it. Sometimes tests don't work. These systems really, really want to help you but programs are messy. Lots of times copying and pasting and accidentally including a space or some, our code passes, but we're not done. We're not done. I mean, y'all are done. Y'all can drop off anytime. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come to my index. Gosh. I'm going to get rid of my instructions. I'm going to get rid of my preview. Thank you very much. I'm going to come over to my index and I'm going to copy this whole chunk of code over. I'm pasting it into, and you can't see it yet, but I promise I am pasting this into a little tiny. All right, let's see if this works. So I am using a tool called Code Sandbox, and this is a really similar type of editor to what we're doing with Free Code Camp. And the reason I've copied and pasted our code over here, and the reason I've copied and pasted our code over here is I want to play with this without breaking our tests. Our tests work, we're good, but it's okay. Oh, so this is a question. So with the menu project, we had to put 2 paragraph elements in the same line of code and why that affected the layout of the preview. Let's save this towards the end and we'll go back and have a look at it together, huh? Yeah. So this is really good. So Jane is like, hey, do you know what? The only reason I could think of to not have these links underlined is if we were printing the cards out. Absolutely. I would want to keep these links underlined because that's sort of the expectation. So if I see something underlined on the web, I generally know I can click it. Here we can sort of tab between our 2 files. So I've got an HTML file and I've got my CSS file. And I'm going to go ahead and start getting a little bit silly. Yeah. So how do we want this to look? And this is an actual question. What would we like to do? How do we want to style this? It's a business card. Do you know what I want to do first is I don't love the spacing in this connect with me, right? This feels weird. So let's come into our CSS and I just want a little bit more space here. Styles.css. I'm going to shrink you while I think. And what I want is, what was the class name in here? The class name was social media. So what I want to do is I'm going to set some rules for I think this is probably the wrong way around. I think this is probably backwards. Let's try it first. And if it doesn't work, I think it's .social media then A. Yeah. I think we want the anchor tags, which are the child of social media. Let's try it this way. If it doesn't work, ooh, that's a really good point. So let's, okay. Hang on. Yes. I'm getting a bunch of really good suggestions. I'm gonna do them one at a time. Uh, okay, cool. We've got some really good suggestions. Let me change this around first. Okay. Neither of these are working. Let's see. So social media is the class here. Let's go ahead and let's just say everything in social media. I want that display inline block. Hmm. Just display block, maybe? Oh, wait, I know exactly what the problem is. I'm rubbish. The problem is this will not update until I refresh it. It's not like our free code camp one. Okay. Hmm. 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 Let's take a look at the display CSS property. Display block. Okay. Hmm. Hmm. Let's try inline block. Yeah. And then I'll stop struggling with this in a second. Hmm. Okay. I have a different way I want to do this. I really do want all of these to show up in a way that feels a little bit nicer. And the way I'm going to cheat and do that is I'm going to make them an unordered list. It doesn't feel like a cheat. I've got an unordered list. I've got 3 list items. And these are by default going to show up on their own lines and take up a little bit of space. Watching me copy paste stuff is a little bit less joyous than we want it to be. And let's go ahead and make sure we're also closing that unordered. Oh, heck, actually closing that unordered list. So here, let's see if you're able to. All right, cool. So now we've got these all on their same lines. Oh, heck, sorry. Y'all are watching me struggle and you're watching me struggle in the wrong place. My effusive apologies. Thank you, team. So this as well. So dot social media A would probably work as well. Um, so I want to also add a rule for unordered lists. I like this, but I don't want these dots. Oh gosh, and we won't learn this until tomorrow, so don't worry about it. And we've got a couple of different cute things we can do. Oh, let's come over here. So here are some list style types that set the characters. Oh gosh, sorry, I've left you up there. That let us set different types of characters for our ordered list. And this one seems to say list style type space counter, which seems a little bit silly. And I am really excited to see if this will also work on ours because I love stuff that feels a little bit silly. Hmm. Space counter. Even though it's an unordered list, we got numbers instead. That's, that's pretty disappointing. I was really excited for that rocket ship. How about none? Let's try none instead. Okay, I'm all right with that. So let's see some of the really good suggestions we had from folks. Samity is saying, hey, do you know what? The connect with me, it would be really, really nice to have that be like a slightly softer color. We need to be really careful to keep our contrast high, but this like jarring effect between the black and the pink does not vibe with our hearts. Okay, so we could do this in a couple different ways. We could set an ID or a class for this element, but I'm lazy, which y'all probably hadn't noticed yet. And we've only got one H2 here. You probably wouldn't want to do this in the real world on a project where you'd have a bunch of H2s, but what's going to be a good color? Oh, do we want to bring that purple? Back. Because like that purple looked real bad as a background of black, but I think that purple will go, it's not inspiring. It is not inspiring, but it's different. Johannes makes a really good point to say, hey, 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 we should replace some of this text with icons. We'd want to be really careful, and we'd want to use ARIA um, rules here to say, hey, if I want to use a head bird watcher, if I want to head and then the emoji for bird and then the emoji for, let's go ahead and do this. So this is not very accessible. So what we would do is go and specify that this would be labeled differently with ARIA. But just for right now, just for funsies, I'm going to set the bird and oh gosh, binoculars. Spyglass. Telescope. Hey, there we go. So here we should have, when we refresh this, Blink is now head parrot telescope. And we would definitely go back and fix that. Ooh, and Eulidel makes a really solid point. Say, hey, 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 do you know what? If this was something we were going to print, this would be rubbish if we printed it like this, because right now it's Twitter. And if I got given this as a physical business card, oh, like you said this way better than I do. Like, hey, Twitter, okay, well, I mean, I guess I could go to Twitter and find you, but that's not your username. So going through and adding that would be really, really useful. Amazing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So these are really good questions. So we, for icons that use social media, would we use ARIA described by or ARIA label? So you're talking about the SVG icons for, you're talking about the SVG icons for like Twitter, for example. Let's go back. I'm going to grab our notes from, can somebody remind me what day that was? That was a couple, that was was that last Wednesday? Gosh, we have been doing so much stuff, y'all. Tables. Oh, wait, no, ARIA was the last thing we looked at in accessibility, wasn't it? Not the last thing, because we're still working on it. Hmm. I am back in here looking at our notes. I'm pretty sure it's ARIA described by, but I'm wrong a lot. I review our notes. When did we study ARIA, team? I'm so sorry. You've got me bopping around just a little bit to try and find this because here we go. For this session, we're there, we're there. Okay, so ARIA label. Cool, I was absolutely wrong. I always get these confused, so I like to check. If we wanted to add the and we do want to add the context that the if we wanted to add the context that the Twitter SVG icon, that if we wanted to use that to replace where we said Twitter, we would use the ARIA label because there's no text associated with it. Whew, everything's terrible, but everything's okay. Thank you for letting me go back and triple check that. Yep. So ARIA described by is saying, hey, it's this text over here that relates to that. But yeah. Lucy's notes say if a picture is used as a link with ARIA described by. Oh. So ARIA described by, yep, so ARIA described by is similar to ARIA labeled by. That's if you also have some other text on the page. No, it's okay. I had like, y'all had to see me go back and check and check and check. Lucy makes a really solid point. They're like, oh, you know what? If we wanted to continue to build out this, we'd probably put, oh gosh, if we wanted to continue to build this up, we'd probably include a picture of actual Blink instead of a flower. But I hate to admit this, I'm a bad cat mom. I don't think I've got a easily accessible picture of him on the web anywhere. Stunning. So I'm going to really lovingly encourage y'all to. Oh, so if we did use labeled by or described by, should we use display hidden to hide it from visual users? You wouldn't have to. So labeled by or described by is only going to show up in the accessibility tree. It's not going to also show up on the page. Yeah, everything's terrible, but everything's okay. You're really, really complete, and I really, really love this. Thank you. All of y'all are really, really complete. And the big thing is asking these questions, looking stuff up. I mean, if it's in a job interview, we need to act a little cool. But right now, while we're learning and day to day when we're building stuff, especially if we're building silly little things for ourselves and each other, we can just say, do you know what? I always forget this. Or if I'm being real honest to y'all, CSS is not my strong point, and it's not. Let's look it up together. Yeah, I am so excited about CSS because I'm really cheerfully rubbish about it. It's so powerful and so complex and has so much going on. And I always forget it a little bit. But we can look it up, we can double check, we can test things and see if they work out. Everything's terrible and everything's okay. Let's take a look at what I'm going to ask you to do for tomorrow as solo work, if it's quite all right. So today is the 26th. And please try to build out your business card in a way that all of your tests pass. Might take you an extra couple days, but after you do that, then if you have the time and if you have the inclination, spend some time to build something silly and have a silly time. After this session, I'm so sorry, my loves. We are going to go and do a bunch of reading again. Tomorrow is going to be a bunch of me talking to y'all about stuff. And it's not all going to sink in right away. And that's okay. So we're going to do a whole bunch of learning stuff, a whole bunch of theory. Y'all are going to take really, really good notes. And I'm sorry if it's a little bit dull. Amazing. Oh gosh, we've got folks who've just joined live for the first time. It's a joy to have you live, but please, please, please remember the big point of this is all the videos are available offline. There's never any need. There's no obligation. There's no hard deadlines. You never have to come to class. There's no homework. It's about just little social extra supports to try and do stuff. And so we're done with what we were looking at today. And we had a question from Mel saying, I don't understand why the menu project had two P elements on the same line in the code and that affected the layout of the preview. Yeah, because a paragraph element by default should be, let's go ahead and get to that. where is that? The curriculum. Oh, and for folks who this question is not relevant for, feel free to drop off. That was way back in the HTML, wasn't it? And not way back. Menu. If somebody can give me a hint, we've been doing this for a little hot minute, huh? Was it forms and tables? Survey form, table. If anybody can give me a hint on where that was. So yeah, if folks did want to go and build your business cards and share them all, please feel free to share your business cards in Discord. The one thing I would say is do not share any personally identifiable information in Discord. So if you make a project that you want to show off, make sure it's not your real email address, make sure it's not your real phone number, just because everybody on the bootcamp I have talked to so far is a sweetie, but you'll want to be really, really careful with your personal information, huh? It is 2026. We do not just go write our phone numbers on the web anymore, is it? Aria. I do not, for love or money, remember where the cafe. Oh, the cafe menu was the first part of CS. Oh gosh, it was this guy. It was the big one we worked on, huh? Step 36. Here. All right. So what's going on here? This is from yesterday. So here. Oh, so here was where we did all the spacing. Yeah. So instead, use the P element for price next to the P element for the class flavor. So they're on the same line on the editor. Okay. Let's see where those are. It's the class of item. And let's go here and see what CSS we've got for the class of item. Ah, ha, 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 ha. Sorry. I think the reason, so the question is, if we take this and we put these two P elements next to each other, we're seeing that change. And I think that's because we've got the display set for inline block here. I think if I take that away, yeah, okay, I've got it. Everything's terrible, but everything's fine. So by default, every paragraph element has a block display set. So it wants to take up the whole block. It wants to take up all its space. But here, what we're saying is, hey, I'm overriding and saying, I want you to use inline block instead. Let's grab the, great. And here's a guide to block and inline block. Yeah. So this is block and inline layout. Oh, heck. Let's share this tab instead. So here we've got the MDN guide talking about block and inline. So block is saying, hey, vertically, let's go ahead and take up more space, and inline across the display. So here, the display property, gosh, I'm going to click over and see this. This is getting too fancy too fast. We don't want to talk about flex yet. Here, I would like to see some really simple display inline block. I'd like to see some really simple guide of inline block, please. Come on. Yep. Aha. There we are. This is what I was looking for. So on our cafe menu, it's showing the item and the price next to each other because we've changed the display to what? Inline block. here. Hmm. What do you mean display legacy? What are you doing? That's not what I wanted. I don't want this in legacy, please. Let me try and find an explainer I like better than this. Okay, let's try this one. Inline block, a little bit block coded, a little bit inline coded. So, hey, we want to let these take up as much space as they want, but if they will fit on the same line with other inline or inline block elements, they will. So the issue here is P by default has display block set, but in, where was step 36. In step 36, we have this set to inline block, which overwrites the default behavior. Sorry, I wanted this to make more sense and explain it, and it was a clunky way to do this. Cool. So like, and I was like, but how does this change where it is? So because we said inline block, it means that it's paying attention to where we put this. We say, hey, I want you to, yeah, so the white space is paying attention here. The white space is impacting this because it's inline block, if that's okay. Yeah, the return character, yeah. Oh gosh, that's a good one. So Ulidil's like, well, let's see what a space does. What does a space do to this instead of return characters? The space also is saying, hey, here is an extra element. Here's by default text on the page is, even if it's not wrapped in a P element, is going to be a P element, treated as if it's a P element. So the space, this additional character, is being treated as another element. An O that is also going to push this down. Yeah, I'm so sorry. This is going to feel like a cop out, but Matthew's got it just right. So what it's doing is, hey, this extra element is taking that out of the flow. So this inline block is saying, I want to have this additional control over this, but adding extra elements gets us a little weird. Yeah, it's so weird. And it's only going to get weird and more stressful. I'm so sorry, y'all, that it is way, way hotter than I am personally comfortable being. So if it's okay, we will not talk about, sorry, somebody in the chat's like, now we'll talk about floats. I was like, not with it being this warm, not today, not yet. We will talk about floats and even more importantly, so this is a really clunky way to say, I want these things on the same line. We're going to learn two different, more modern ways to adjust our CSS in ways that feel a lot like using tables, but are not tables, just as a preview. I am super duper warm and I'm delighted to work with y'all, but I'm a little bit grumpy. So I'm going to lovingly say goodbye until I see y'all tomorrow. Bye, team.